Hi again, everybody. Here we are the next day, Thursday morning, and I wanted to give you a close look at these drawings before I continue developing them. So this is the abstract one. Lots of angular shapes and references to landscape with the high horizon line going through there. So, quite enjoying just looking at that one, at this particular drawing at the moment, without actually doing any more to it. Anyway, we'll come back over to this one. This was the one I was working on yesterday that you saw the video of. So I'm going to continue with this one this morning, and what I'll probably do is set the camera on time lapse, so you'll just get a condensed version of the way this is going. So that the central two figures are looking okay, although quite distorted, but I don't mind that. This figure over here on the left is one that will need more development, obviously, and the surrounding space. So I'll probably work on that first. But anyway, reasonably happy with the way this one's going. I am finding a problem, however, with this paper. And once you put this much charcoal on here, and particularly if you rub it in, it's very hard to get it back to the white paper. In fact, it's almost impossible. So that's just the characteristic of this paper, this particular cartridge. Some cartridge paper works much better. You're able to rub back and expose the white paper more readily, particularly the cheaper paper. Some of the cheaper papers, like the bulky news sheets, that's a really good one for charcoal drawing. Anyway, I shall persevere. So looking at this figure here, and what's becoming immediately apparent is this negative space in here. I'm just going to sketch it out so you can see it. So rather than work on the figure, I'm going to work this space around the figure, because I think that's an important area, and it's really exerting a strong point pressure into the form, or onto the form, like so. You can see those arrows. That's very strong pressure, which means the negative space is engaged in the form. So figure and ground are integrated. I think that's really, really important. So that's going to be my next move. Okay, folks, I've switched to charcoal pencil. Now, this is compressed charcoal pencil. It's Conte Paris, and so it's got some pigment and some charcoal in it. Now, the reason I've switched to this, and I know I haven't put this on the list, but some of you may have it, but I can now start to do these very, very fine lines, and start to be able to produce some really sharp edges, if that's what I want, and in this case it is. And the broadness and the thickness of a stick of charcoal just won't allow you to get that kind of fine detail. Okay, so I'm now going to, we talked before about this negative space. I'm now going to accentuate this space. Now, I don't want to put a line around everything. I just want to accentuate some of these areas with the smaller pencil. If you look carefully at the marks, the marks will often give you things like the hand and the fingers. You know, no, it doesn't have to be perfect because you're making a drawing, and this figure's highly distorted anyway. So, you know, accuracy is anatomical accuracy is not the goal at all. Normally I don't give draw faces, but just to show you how this can work, I will do it here. The reason why is because as soon as you draw a face, it gives the figure an identity, and you know, it starts to look like someone that you know or that reminds you of. And I don't want, for my particular drawing and painting, I don't want that reference. I want the figures as such to be anonymous. This is actually quite waxy, this particular one. This is another one I've got here. I've worn this one down, so I don't know what the brand name is, but this is a drier one. Now, the beauty of this is that the image is already fairly established. So what I'm doing now is consolidating the image, so it's not going to require a lot of rubbing out. Now you can see as I rub that compressed charcoal, it's not coming off as easily. You can get it off, but it takes a lot of work. Okay. I hadn't intended the central pillar to become a literal tree, but there you go. It's just offered up that meaning, so I will consolidate that. Once again, the charcoal pencil enables me to get this very, very fine detail. And actually, what I think I will do is join these two columns up. And make the thing into one large tree type shape vertical. Okay, that's interesting. Now we know the tree is round, so I'm going to put some cross contour marks just to indicate that it does have volume. So contrast is important here too. So where I've gone dark here, in order to make that back leg pop, come forward, I've got to go light here. If I was to reproduce the same value of darkness in the space behind the leg, the whole thing would become obscured. So you can see by just taking that charcoal off, lightening that area, doesn't mean I have to lighten the whole area, but just this area. So I'm getting a contrast, light against dark, and you see how that leg now is coming out. Now here we've got, once again, light against dark. So so that means in this area here I can actually go darker. So I might get the charcoal pencil out again, because this is giving me a real black, 100% black, whereas the Vine charcoal, you know, gives you less. I don't know what percentage. I'm not good with numbers, but not as black. Okay, so that's really starting to, this figure now is starting to be much more consolidated. We've got some facial features, we've got an indication of hair, we've got an ear, we've got a neck, and it's starting to get to the stage where I could probably leave it. I want to get a bit more, but it's looking more consolidated, better than it was. The other possibility, of course, here too is to spray this with fixative, workable fixative, and then continue with coloured pencils or coloured chalks. This is still very workable, this charcoal. This arm's a problem. Can we bring another arm in? This is the issue when you're distorting like this. You get into all sorts of trouble with where the limbs go. What is that arm doing? Should there be another arm there? Probably there is room for another arm. Arm somewhere in there. Not quite sure, but anyway, I will. Rather round-shouldered, this person. Okay, look, that might do. I think that gives you a good insight into this process, how malleable this charcoal is, how important it is to use your rubber, not only to trash the surface, but also to correct. And the rubber is a wonderful drawing mark. You know, it's you're drawing with the rubber as well. And also, don't forget your cotton rags to really work that charcoal into the tooth of the paper. Okay folks, that's a wrap.